Thermopolis is home to one of the world's largest natural hot springs. It begins with two Native American tribes, the Arapaho and Cheyenne, who discovered these sacred springs centuries ago. These tribes found that the mineral-rich waters had incredible healing properties, providing relief and rejuvenation. Today, a dedicated family continues to preserve and share the historical and healing legacy of Thermopolis.
What makes the hot springs in Thermopolis so special, and do they still hold those healing powers? We're at Star Plunge. If you don't know me, I'm Charlie Wayne. We've actually just come out of the mountains up at 8,000 foot altitude. I'm exhausted. Let's see if these special powers and these special healing abilities in these mineral baths help. God knows I need it. We'll see you in there.
Today, we're in Thermopolis to explore the ancient healing traditions of these hot springs. We'll see how the warm, mineral-rich waters have provided wellness for Native Americans, settlers, and visitors, and find out if their magic still holds today. Thermopolis, Wyoming, is a small town renowned for its extraordinary natural hot springs. These springs are among the largest in the world, situated roughly halfway between Casper and Yellowstone National Park. Thermopolis is steeped in history. The name itself, derived from the Greek words therme, meaning hot, and polis, meaning city, reflects its geothermal roots. The town has long been a place of healing and spiritual significance, particularly for the Arapaho and Cheyenne tribes who discovered these springs centuries ago. We're here at one of the most popular mineral-rich hot springs in Wyoming, called Star Plunge. Today I had the pleasure of meeting Roland, the owner of this amazing place. Roland shared with me the rich history and significance of these naturally heated pools.
Good day, sir. My name's Charlie Wayne.
Yeah. My name's Roland Lonnie.
Roland. Good to meet you, Roland.
Roland is the current owner and caretaker of Star Plunge, the renowned hot springs resort located in Hot Springs State Park in Thermopolis, Wyoming. He has dedicated his life to preserving the historical and cultural significance of the mineral-rich hot springs, ensuring that the healing properties of the waters continue to benefit visitors from around the world.
And so at the time, there was no indoor swimming. So my father took the big risk and he put a roof over the pool, and every hotel owner in the area, everyone in the area was very happy with my father. They came over and thanked him for making Thermopolis a year-round destination.
Roland emphasizes the therapeutic benefits of the hot springs, promoting their use for physical and emotional healing. He is passionate about sharing the restorative powers of the mineral-rich waters with visitors from around the world.
And the water, it's special. It's very special.
Especially, you're referring to all of the minerals and everything that comes up out of the ground.
I have people coming in, using our facility, going out there, exercising, anything from their toes to their ears. They go out there and move their joints, move their arms, move their legs. And many of them come out saying, how much this water has healed them.
While interviewing Ronald, some questions came to my mind. Who were the Native Americans who discovered this place, and why did they take refuge here? By exploring the site and doing some research, I uncovered fascinating historical facts about the discovery of the Thermopolis hot springs. In the mid-19th century, westward expansion in the United States led to conflicts as settlers encroached on Native American territories, violating treaties like the 1851 Treaty of Fort Laramie. In Colorado Territory, aggressive local militias, viewing Native Americans as obstacles, contributed to rising tensions, culminating in the Sand Creek Massacre. Following this tragedy, Thermopolis, Wyoming, became a sanctuary for the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. The mineral-rich waters of Thermopolis hot springs offered significant healing benefits, providing relief from physical injuries and emotional trauma, and became a place of refuge and spiritual renewal for the tribes.
These wonderful people gave up their land to provide people like me and people in Thermopolis a living. And my life is basically based around this facility. And if it wasn't for the Indians, I would never have this facility. I'd never have the opportunity to work here or own this facility.
Roland mentioned that modern-day visitors to Star Plunge continue the tradition of using the hot springs for spiritual healing and prayer. Many visitors view the mineral-rich waters as not only beneficial for physical wellness, but also as a place for spiritual renewal and meditation.
The Indians have always known this. They come over and like I said, here at this facility for sure, they do rituals. They do stuff out there, and I don't bug my nose in it, but I know what they're doing. They're praying, praying, and they're worshiping.
And you're very respectful of their culture, genuine. That's a good thing.
Yes.
But we just heard from the owner group, well, the sister. I believe there's more people in the owner group, but regardless, we've heard amazing stories of how this one family has impactfully changed what this place originally was and done it for the better. Starting to get wet. Let's jump in.
The primary attraction at Star Plunge is its series of mineral-rich pools, naturally heated by the geothermal activity beneath the Earth's surface, and renowned for their therapeutic benefits, including relief from muscle pain, improved circulation, and enhanced skin health.
So these are mineral bathtubs, all coming from the hot water springs over there. Fully natural, no chemicals such as chlorine, no pH balancing. They do it all naturally. He was saying it's very acidic. Not that acidic, but I think if I remember right, 6.2 pH scale.
And so as the water comes in, it's a 6.8. And then when it cools down and the sulfur gas dissipates, the water's pH turns from a 6.8 to about a 7.8, 8.2, okay? Where all the solids inside this water starts bonding onto stuff, which creates the terraces, which creates all the limestone, all the mineral buildup that all comes from the water.
And then they blend it with a little bit of water and allow it to sit, take off gas to neutralize, to become more neutral on the pH scale.
Star Plunge offers fun for the whole family with its water slides and recreational facilities, making the hot springs a popular destination for visitors of all ages.
Let's have a pep talk. This is cool, especially when you go from that really, really nice water. Woo! Yeah! Yes! Oh.
For those seeking a more relaxing experience, the vapor caves and hot tubs provide a serene environment where visitors can unwind and enjoy the water's natural heat and mineral content.
As I said about the sulfuric gas, you smell it, it dissipates from the water, and at our facility, it dissipates, it goes up to the ceiling, it might go into one of our skylights, and then it liquefies itself again, and then it drips down, and it drills holes into whatever is down below.
The vapor cave. We've talked about this, and the owners actually designed this thing based off of old historic native practices of absorbing all of the gases, the heat, the vapors, the moisture, and everything from this natural hot spring. It vaporizes it, why we have this cloud. It kind of reminds me of that fixed vapor bubble. It's got that, it's not a menthol, obviously it's sulfur. And you can feel it opening up your sinuses. It's hot tub time. Thank you, sir, much appreciated. Everybody's friendly. That guy's been actually helped me out. He's watching my camera and stuff. So really hospitable, nice people. That's what you're gonna find in the countryside. If you come to America, get out of that big city life. That's where all those crooked people are, those selfish individuals. You don't need those people in your life. Stay around good people like this.
In every corner of the world, from the bustling cities of the USA to the serene villages across the globe, there lies a rich tapestry of history and legacy waiting to be preserved. Just as families have found spiritual healing in restoring places like Star Plunge, we too can find solace and purpose in honoring our past. Let us embrace the challenges and triumphs of restoration, becoming guardians of our cultural heritage and the spiritual well-being it fosters. By preserving these sacred stories and spaces, we ensure that future generations can draw strength, healing, and inspiration from their roots. Together, we can protect and cherish the legacies that connect us all, fostering a deeper appreciation and responsibility for the history and spiritual healing that shape our world. Thermopolis Hot Springs stands as a symbol of healing, history, and hope. Its story is one of perseverance, respect, and the enduring power of nature to heal and inspire. Star Plunge is a truly special place. We hope you recognize its value and join us in protecting and nurturing it for future generations. Just as our ancestors did when they first arrived, our whole town is part of this ongoing journey. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and click the box below, or check out the playlist that YouTube might recommend. Until next time, see you in the next video.